Welcome, everyone, to the Best of Markham Podcast, brought to you by me, Igor Klibanov from FitnessSolutionsPlus.ca, your personal trainers for chronic conditions. Here with me today is Shyne from Therapy House. Shyne, thank you so much for being here. Tell us
Yeah.
a bit about yourself.
So I am a psychotherapist. My office is in Markham, which is, I guess, why you chose me
That's
to
right.
do this. So yeah, my office is in Markham. I'm the founder of Therapy House. I specialize in narcissistic abuse, grief, anxiety, and depression. And I am a mom of two. I have an 8-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter.
Awesome, awesome. How'd you get into psychotherapy?
Oh, so I have always been in the field. I never, a lot of times you hear people switching different fields. I have loved psychotherapy always. I always wanted to do some sort of something psychology. I did my undergrad in psychology and sociology. I did a career counseling program. I did CBT at Laurier. I worked in all different facets of mental health.
Yeah.
And and then I started my private practice a few years ago. So I've always just been drawn to it. I really do see the change in people. I really see that they come, in a dark place and they start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And I love watching their transformation. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, very, very gratifying. It's
yeah.
similar to why I got into personal training. At first, I just wanted to work with athletes, and then I saw kind of pivoted and transitioned to more chronic conditions, things like osteoporosis, type 2 diabetes, stuff like that. And it
Mm.
was more gratifying to see literally adding years to their life, but also life to their years. Uh,
Yes, yes. I
yeah,
love that life to their years.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I always say longevity is a gift if you're healthy. Longevity is a curse if you're sick.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I totally get that. Um,
Yeah, and you can be sick in so many ways, right?
yeah,
Just like all the conditions you just mentioned, and mental health conditions as well, right? People have all sorts of things that they're learning about later in life or they're finally ready to deal with. And so why not have a healthy life in all aspects, right? Even your mental health.
yes, absolutely. Now,
Yeah.
you're not just a psychotherapist, you open up your own practice, so you're also an entrepreneur. So
Yes.
what made you decide from just being a psychotherapist and working for somebody else versus running your own practice?
I wanted to spend all of my time working with my clients. Like I thought they need my undivided attention, and how can I do that without all the other stuff behind the scenes? And so this way they kind of have my undivided attention. I wanted a private practice where I can solely just focus on my clients,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, interesting enough, so a lot of the guests that I interviewed on this podcast, when I asked them, what's your motivation behind opening up your own practice, whatever that is, whether it's a law firm, accounting, etc., or psychotherapy, the answer frequently is I wanted to do things the way I wanted to do things, not the way it was done previously when I saw a better way to do it. I wanted the
Yes.
freedom to practice the way I want to practice.
Yeah.
So yeah, totally get that.
The freedom to practice the way I want to practice, yes, and also just, seeing how that works, right? Like seeing how when what I know, all the years of experience that I have, I can actually deliver that
Yeah,
myself, right? Not having to wait for other people to deliver it or get on the same page or, I can just sort of run that show.
yeah, yeah. And you can operate
Yeah.
quickly because you're the only decision maker.
Yeah. Yeah,
Perfect.
exactly.
Now, what do you do for marketing? How do you get new clients?
Marketing. So a big one for therapists is Psychology Today.
Yep.
So you can put in your area, you can put in how far you want to be, you can put in what you're looking for, anxiety, what you're struggling with, and it really sort of generates and pops up a system for you. So a lot comes from there, and then referrals. I would say as an entrepreneur, it is essential to have those relationships
Yeah.
and connections and and just word of mouth.
Yeah, yeah, of course. So I guess your two big ones are Psychology Today and
Mhm.
word of mouth from your existing clients.
Um, or other practitioners, a
Yep.
lot, not so much existing clients, I would say more from my colleagues.
Okay,
and
you're
other specialists. And so specialists, sometimes, they'll refer their patients to me, like an audiologist might, because the
gotcha.
patients have tinnitus and they are also struggling with anxiety. So,
Mm,
I'll get someone will refer that way, or just, a family doctor.
gotcha.
It's just really any sort of specialty that sees that, hey, there's a need here for my existing patients. Kind of probably, you probably see it a lot in the
Yeah,
work that you do, and the people that you work with. When someone is struggling, it comes up with any of their specialists, right? I'm sure you hear
yeah,
about, your clients struggling with anxiety and depression. And so just someone like you even, right? Just having that, hey, I know someone that I think really might be able to help you do
yeah,
this.
yeah, exactly. Now, how do these other practitioners, the audiologists, the GPs, how do they find out about you?
Uh, Sometimes they do a Google search and
Oh, okay.
they find, a therapist near me. Sometimes it's someone in my community, and community in so many different ways, all the different ways that we have community, and they just kind of find out about you through the grapevine.
Gotcha. Okay. And so, what percentage of your clients would you say come through either Psychology Today versus practitioner referrals versus existing patient referrals? Is it like an even
It's
split, one third, one third, one third, or is there a different split?
I would say the most comes from referrals, I would say, and then Psychology Today would be it's up there, but I think referrals is number one.
Okay. And is it more practitioner referrals or existing patient referrals?
Yes. It's
Practitioner
it's
referrals.
mostly it's mostly practitioners, because the thing with psychotherapy, it's not like it's private. It's
Yeah.
it's so private that a lot of times, people don't really tell everyone that they're in therapy and, oh,
Yeah.
I have this. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they'll say, oh, I really, I had this amazing therapist. But sometimes it's private. It's not like, oh, I really want you to, I have this chiropractor,
Yeah.
you know, or physiotherapist,
Right.
right? And then they get referrals. They get the person's mom, grandma, brother, sister. If everyone goes to the same whoever, but it's a little bit different with psychotherapy, just because it's so much more private and intimate, and
Yeah.
people don't
Yeah.
really refer like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the same with
Yeah,
personal training because sometimes a referral is offensive. It's like, you're looking a little fat. You could use some, so lose some weight, right?
right.
So referrals have to happen in a different way, from
Yes.
practitioner to patient or to
Right. And also, there's college guidelines about Google reviews, right? So we
yeah,
can't ask for Google reviews because, again, it's confidential, whereas other practitioners can ask for reviews.
yeah, yeah. Although, do patients ever leave you reviews without you asking?
Yes, if it's without me asking, maybe.
Yeah,
But even then, it's a very gray area, because we can't ask and they can't really do it because,
yeah.
again, it's confidentiality.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's kind of
Yeah.
like the debate of, is it better to be regulated or unregulated? On the one hand, I have friends and other guests on this podcast who are heavily regulated, like psychotherapists, chiropractors, naturopathy
Yeah.
doctors that are heavily regulated. So on the one hand, because they're regulated, they're often covered by benefits, insurance, in
Yes.
some cases,
Yes.
etc. Um, but because they're also regulated, there are so many things they can't do with their marketing. They can't ask for reviews. They can't
Yes.
packages. There's a
Yes.
limit to how
No
much or how,
packages.
yes, exactly. Whereas in personal training, completely unregulated. So the downside is it's not covered by benefits, insurance, nothing. Everything is 100% out of
Right.
pocket. The upside, we can do whatever we want with our marketing. Packages, go ahead. Testimonials, case studies. You want to record your clients while they're exercising, go ahead. As
Right.
long as the client consents to it. So pros and cons to both.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Pros and cons for sure.
totally. Now, what are you working on right now that's exciting to you?
So funny enough, so I had so many books. I love reading. I have so many books just from all my years of, because I had mentioned I've done all the programs, all the certificates, all the degrees, all the diplomas. And so I have, if you can imagine how many books I
Yeah,
have, workbooks, textbooks. And so I thought they're all just sitting here. So I decided to open up this little library
Yeah.
where, clients, my clients can have access to them and take them out when they need, or if I'm talking to someone about one, they can go take it out. And so I've been having so much fun making labels
Yes.
and creating this little library in my waiting room. And clients have, they've been borrowing, they've been going through them. I actually have one here. Does this one have a label yet? Yeah. So I've been making just the little therapy
Oh,
house
beautiful.
labels. I've been having fun creating the library. What else? Social media.
Yeah.
I don't have a big following,
Right.
but the little following that I do have, I find it's very intimate. It's a
Yeah.
little community, and I always like to create like educational content or just content that removes the stigma from psychotherapy, from mental health, and
Yeah.
someone seeing having a therapist, right? And so
Mhm.
sometimes they're funny, and sometimes, just it can be funny. We can laugh about it, we can
Yeah.
joke about it, we can learn about it. There are topics that people are struggling with that are so specific and they feel are so taboo. So let's post about it. Let's do a poll asking who is struggling with this, and here's some information about it. And, here's a funny, joke about,
Yeah.
things. And so it just is this my content um is just very much targeted towards removing the stigma from mental health and just let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Um, so it's a small community, but it is meaningful.
Yes. Small but
I'm always
meaningful.
creating content for it.
Yes. Yes. So what's an example of something that's taboo that in the world of psychotherapy that you posted about?
I just posted about Sunday Scaries, for instance, right? So everyone has this feeling in their stomach on Sundays where, the weekend's over, you got to relax, spend time with friends, family, get all your sleep in, and then you have to do this major transition to Monday, right? Where,
Right.
okay, it's back to work, it's back to reality, go, go, go. And so it can feel really scary, that transition. And
Yeah.
I hear so many people talking about, how down they are on Sundays, or this feeling that they have of panic or doom or anxiety, and
Yeah.
they get frozen. And so, did you know that there was a word for it? Did you know that there was a term for it? It's called
Until you
Sunday
just mentioned it,
Scaries.
I didn't know.
Yeah. And so many people experience this, but in silence, right? And
Yeah.
so I did a poll, who experiences Sunday scaries? And then one of the options was, what are Sunday scaries, right? So
Yeah.
yes, no, what is that? And
Yeah.
so here's what it is, and here's a funny joke about it, or here's different ways you can cope about it, and here's another fact about it. And so just talking about the things that are actually happening to people that, they might feel like they're alone in, why does this happen to me every Sunday? Why does this happen to me when I have this transition going back to work? And what is that? Right? Well, here's what it is. Let's talk
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, yeah, no, totally. I remember when I was in high school, obviously in high school, you don't until I think grades 11 or 12, you don't get much of a choice about which subjects you take.
Mm,
So I mean, like, I didn't know it was called the Sunday Scaries, but I would get the Sunday Scaries. I would dread going to school on Monday because I didn't, I mean, although I was a good student, I didn't really like school. Um,
right,
but fast forward to university, in university, like it's your major, you choose what you want to take. So
right.
Scaries completely disappeared. I was looking forward to a Monday. I studied on Sundays because that I
Yes.
study stuff that's interesting to me, kinesiology. And even now, like running my own business, I work 7 days a week, so there's no Sunday scaries because Sunday's still a work day.
Mm.
But I look forward to every client every morning because I'm like, oh, I get to work with this person and that person. So once I started doing stuff I liked, Sunday scaries were a thing of the past.
Oh my
Um,
goodness. Exactly. Sunday scaries. And it's so telling, right? When you don't have them anymore, right?
yeah,
Because a lot of people share stories. I was at this job and I really hated it, but now I've decided to do this other thing and I completely started over again and I don't have that feeling anymore. Well, exactly. Listen to your bodies. We should always be listening to our bodies and what they're telling us. And if that's how you're feeling, listen, right?
yeah,
And it doesn't have to be a life sentence. It doesn't always have to be like that. Listen, what are the changes? And just like you mentioned, you had them in high school. It was, something, there was this feeling of dread of not wanting to do something,
yeah,
which removed this obstacle, right?
yeah,
Sometimes by removing the obstacle of the thing you don't want to do and
yeah,
figuring out what makes me happy. I don't want to live like this. I don't want to have Sunday scares. I don't want to have a Sunday where I feel down
yeah,
all day. Why do I live like that? Sundays come every week,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's, pay attention to that. And so, and you don't have to have them. And so exactly when you find, and I know this sounds so cliche, but when you find something that you love, you don't get them, right?
yeah, yeah. You're just looking forward to whatever's coming.
Yeah.
Awesome. That does sound exciting. And obviously, entrepreneurship is not an easy thing. So, what obstacles have you encountered in your time as both a psychotherapist and an entrepreneur?
Okay, so it's another thing that I'm actually working on right now too. But as an entrepreneur, I'm switching software companies, for
Okay.
example, right now, right? So that it's actually exciting because it's exciting in a way because I'm going back to answering your other question too. It's exciting because I get to um, the new software has all these different assessments that I can send to clients in between our sessions so I can check how they're doing with their anxiety that week, and it's a way for us to sort of stay connected. But as an entrepreneur you have to make decisions like choosing your software company, right?
Yeah.
Which the one that I was with was great, and then but this other one has features that I feel like are better for my business
Right.
standpoint, right? It has more features that I feel like my clients would appreciate. That, and so, like having reminders about appointments, right? Because people forget and they're
Yeah.
busy. So, making decisions like that, the behind the scenes, it's not always fun, getting, as a psychotherapist, getting,
Yeah.
to do the work and having sessions and having these deep, intimate therapy sessions. As an entrepreneur, you're thinking about, okay, how do I figure out, what is missing from my practice,
Yeah.
right? I see that there's a gap that would really benefit me, my business, and it would be helpful, and having to make those decisions.
Yeah, yeah, that is always a challenge, especially in careers that either rely lightly or heavily on tech. Like
Yes.
I'm in personal training, there's minimal tech, but the little tech that exists, and I'm a giant technophobe. I hate changing any tech because then I have to think about what do I have to change. Like even with cars, I know so little about cars. There was like a 14-year span where I just drove a Toyota Yaris. I would take a Toyota Yaris, the lease expired, I get a new Toyota Yaris. Not because I was particularly attached to Toyota Yaris, just because of the dread of learning
Yeah.
about different features, different
Yeah.
cars.
You knew that
Okay.
one.
Yes, yes. I know that one. I'm good with it. Then they discontinued it, so I switched to a different car.
Right,
Um,
exactly. And learning a new software. And I was very comfortable with my other software program too, and I
yeah,
loved it. But you have to make those types of decisions where this is going to be a big project, right? To switch everybody over and to you're going to have to think about the imports and the exports,
yes,
and you're going to have to do that. So yes, and with this, there's a lot of psychotherapy sessions that happen online now, right?
yes.
We have moved ever since COVID to virtual.
Oh
So
yeah,
a lot of people prefer virtual sessions. And so a software program and the technical part of it is a big component.
yeah, yeah. Different world. Before
Yeah,
COVID, about 5% of our clients were virtual clients. Now, about 60% of our clients are virtual clients. Yeah, just
right.
a completely different world. Uh,
Right. But I do think it's switching back. I think that a lot of the people that I work with, they choose virtual because of distance, right? So if
yeah, yeah,
they're not nearby, and it's a lot more difficult to commute, right?
yeah.
But I have found that everyone who is in a reasonable distance from my office, they all prefer to do in person.
100%.
It's
I
going
mean,
back.
like I said, I'm a giant technophobe. So if I have the option of choosing in person or virtual, even if in person is more expensive, I'll choose that one. I
Just
went
to
to,
go there.
yeah, yeah. So I went to school after York, to the Institute of Holistic Nutrition. They both had a virtual option and an in-person option. The virtual option was 70% cheaper than the in-person option, and I still chose the in-person option because I can just pay attention better. I can't sit in front of a computer for too long.
Well,
I
that's
just
good
get,
too, right? That you know what works for you.
yes, yes. I just get too fidgety if I sit in front of a computer too long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Person,
And people like
excellent.
the intimacy. I find that people say they want to come sit with me. They want to come sit on the green couch.
Yes.
They want to come sit, in person. And they miss that part of it, that component, that intimate component, sitting one to one with someone and sharing a space.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you're very, very, very busy. You're a psychotherapist, you're an entrepreneur, you're a mom. So, in the very little free time you have, what do you do?
So last weekend was one of our unicorn weekends where things were just a little bit quieter. We love those weekends because they are so few and far between to have. And so we spent most of it scrapbooking.
Yeah,
I love scrapbooking. And now my daughter has she loves arts and crafts. And so she she's just so enamored with the whole thing. And so she gets a whole scrapbook, a book about her. And so um, we scrapbook. I've been scrapbooking for years.
yeah,
And it's one of those things where it's a hobby, but you get to, there's different times, different parts of the year where it's a little bit harder to do, or different times, for traveling and working. But when I can, and this past week, the past few weeks, I've gotten all the supplies out.
yeah,
I've gotten all the books out, and I have been scrapbooking, and it's been so fun. I've been listening to Christmas music. I'll
yeah.
make myself a nice coffee or a tea, and I scrapbook. So that's a big one. Um, and my son, he loves chess. We have a chessboard set up
Yes.
in the living room, and he every morning before he goes to school, he says, "Please, please, please, can someone play chess with me? Can someone play chess?" So our mornings are, consistent. They consist of getting my kids out the door, breakfast, but now also chess. And
Wow, smart
so
boy.
yeah, and last weekend again, one of the unicorn weekends that we have that are quiet was a lot of playing chess. So my daughter was more likes to help with the scrapbooking, but
Yeah.
he wants to play chess 24/7.
Oh, it's very, very good. If you can get obsessed
Yeah.
about that, chess, it used to be chess was just for fun. Now you can actually make money playing chess.
Yes.
Even if you're not good, by the way, even if you're just learning how to play chess, that's a monetizable skill. But for him, it's just a fun thing right now. That's
He gets
kind
it
of
for
fun.
I used to be in the chess club in elementary
Yeah,
school, and I even have a little certificate that everyone used to laugh at me for. And so I would say, well, at least I can play with him. I'm a good opponent for him. So my
beautiful. Good,
chess
good, good.
club came in handy.
Excellent. Great way to connect with both your son and your daughter. And lastly, since this is, after all, a Best of Markham podcast, what's your favorite business in Markham besides your own?
Um, so it's a grocery store.
Okay,
It's a
which one?
charming little grocery store, and it's called the Village Grocer.
I know that one.
Oh, you know it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So my
Yeah.
wife and I are actually looking for a house right now in Markham. We frequently pass by the Village Grocer, so I guess we're looking in that neighborhood.
So it's very sentimental because growing up, my mom, whenever she would forget something from the store, like sugar or flour or milk, she would say, can you go to the store to get it for me?" And it was the
Yeah,
closest store. So I would hop on my bike
yeah,
and put on my backpack, and I would go over to the village grocer, and she would give me some cash, and I would count it out, and I
yeah.
would, get her whatever and put it in my backpack and drive it home to her. And she'd be so happy that she didn't have to go back to the store. And so it's very sentimental to me, that the Village Grocer. And now I still go there. Now,
Oh, yeah.
my husband loves the sandwiches from there. My kids love the bakery there. So the cafe is just, it's so cute and charming. So, um, and it's very nostalgic for me.
Very nice. Well, shout out to the Village Grocer.
Yeah.
And so thank you so much for doing this. How can our viewers and listeners get in touch with you?
I have a Instagram, so I'm giving you my personal one, therapyhouse.ca.
Yeah,
So it's at therapyhouse.ca. I have a website, therapyhouse.ca. It's therapyhouse.ca
everywhere. Okay, perfect. That's very,
everywhere.
very easy to remember. But in case
Yeah.
somebody doesn't remember it, I'll put that in the show notes as well.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Shyne, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. This was so fun.
Sure thing.